Hi everyone. I know a lot of people have been asking how do I automate my Claude journaling and how do I use Claude to journal my trades. One of my biggest, I guess, hardest part of trading is the psychological part and kind of like the what do I do better, when do I perform better. So I use Claude to kind of tell me how can I automate my trade journalings from my Webull trades to my Notion notebook. And so the best option I found was using Python to script Python script. And so basically, initially, I think um, Webull doesn't really have a nice API where you can like automatically, without code, parse it and put it into, like where it automatically does everything. So what I do is I go into Webull and I don't really want to show my portfolio and everything. So once I enter, you enter your key. What you do is you go here and you put the date, like let's say if you want to filter on today's trade date or this week or this month, whatever you want to do, you filter that and then you export orders and then what it'll do, once you open your account, it'll send it to your email. So once you get to your email, you download the file. It's the options file. And then what will happen is you'll get a file with your Webull orders, and that's kind of like you move it from your downloads to your whatever folder Claude tells you to. And mine is it's called exports. So basically, I give it my Notion token, and then I also connect it to my Notion Webull journal here. And so what happens is I have a Notion database basically where I have the fields that I want. So for example, on this trade right here, let's see, for example, on this trade here, I have all these fields that I input. Some of them are automatically entered through the Webull file, but there's some that I manually enter. So what happens is I have my Webull journal and I tell it what fields I want. So basically, I tell it like these are the fields I want: the title, date, symbol, underlying, expiry, strike, option type, direction, action, entry price, exit price, quantity of contracts, P&L, let's see, entry time, exit time, setup, time frame combo. So like the setup, strat, time frame combo, ICT concept, setup concept, like I add that manually. My bias, I actually add that manually as well. And then I add my notes, whatever notes I want to say, like whether I could say like this one I said a bit of FOMO. I entered at this setup. You kind of you tell it, you basically tell it what you want to tell it. And then once all that's entered manually, what the Claude does is it builds a script based on what you tell it to. So it'll build a Python script. And if you don't have Python installed on your computer, you can literally ask Claude, how do I install Python? And it'll install it, and then it gives you the script that you need to use, and that's basically what let's see. literally it created a folder called Webull to Notion, and it created this trade report.py, and that's basically my Python script that runs every time. So every time it'll run this, and then like I said, I had questions like how do I install this, blah blah blah. Where do I find a token? I didn't know where to find my Notion token. So then it guides you on how to find your Notion token. Where do I find the .env file? When it created it, it like I had to like change the format, so I did that, and then it tells you like add your Notion secret and database, all that stuff. Where do I get my Webull database ID, all that. So literally, like as you're going, you tell it, what do I find, blah blah blah, and then once eventually it started to create the Notion entries, and initially it wasn't adding like the date symbol, it wasn't adding like anything other than the option type and direction. So I had to like ask it like, hey, it's not working. And it eventually like fixed it on its own. You keep telling it like, here are the bugs, blah blah blah, and eventually it started to fix any error, and you just keep replacing that Python file that goes in here. That which one is it? That Webull dot or dash journal py. Every time you just fix it and redo it. And then so it did everything, it worked. And then eventually what happened was that as I was downloading my like I said, it wasn't adding stuff, so it fixed kept fixing it. And then eventually what happened was that as all columns populated, I noticed that my whatever trades that I was asking it to do, it wasn't recording like for example, let's say I got in a 690 put SPY, and I averaged like I let's say I bought three and I trimmed, it wasn't reading it correctly, so I had to like kind of correct it manually. Like I would have to tell it, so I would have to go into my Notion journal and be like, can this is the URL for this one, and like let's say like this one for example, this is my URL, and you put it that it wasn't, like I actually averaged out or trimmed out of it, so you have to kind of tell it like this is the time, blah blah blah, because it doesn't know how to read the file correctly. So I had to do that. So see, for example, like I was like, oh, some aren't correct. I bought it. Like for example, I had a runner that I actually ended up selling at a loss, and I like had like two or three contracts that I sold like at a really good percentage, and I had to tell it like, hey, this is not correct. Can you fix it? And so it'll eventually like fix it. Um, So then after all that, like after that, it kind of starts telling you like what you did good, what you did bad, and then after that, build a what I did is I built a Claude skills prompt, and I actually asked Claude, "Hey, can you help me build a prompt?" And I told it like, what trade data do you have from Notion? What methodology? What letter? And then I gave it my file of here's my trading playbook. Let's see. Let's see if I can find it. So for example, I have a trading playbook where I say like this is my trading process, this is my checklist, and these are the type of trades I take every day with the condition, entry, risk, and target. So you kind of teach it. I also have a base. I did around, a psychology, kind of like a psychology program, and I actually have a training plan. Wait, not this one. I have a training plan based on that. And so, like, I kind of told it, like, hey, this is my psychology training plan. So, as well. So, basically, you just feed it whatever information, your plan, your rules, your stop losses, whatever you want to feed it into it so that it knows and it gets to know you better. Um, so basically, I told it all of that, and then I told it, give me. So now, once you build the feedback based on all of that, like I said, it created an integration with my Notion, and it created that, and then after that, it basically I fed it into this, created a Claude skills, and I told it like, hey, this is my skill, like here it is. And you tell it you're a Rosa's personal trade coach and grader. You specialize in these, blah blah blah. You grade the process, and then I put the file like that Claude had actually created, and then from there it starts kind of creating my like whatever I tell it to trade. And then from there it you just start inputting your data. You start telling it like, hey, this is today I traded all of this, and can you grade me on that? So that's kind of like how I trade this. It's a lot to process, but honestly, if you just, I really didn't. A lot of people are like, what YouTube videos did you see? What did you do? And honestly, I didn't really look at any YouTube videos. I kind of just literally vibe coded and just went with the flow. So hopefully this helps you. Let's see what happens. And yeah, so what happens now is that every time I download, so I'll come here and I'll download my trades for the day, and then I'll put them into this folder called exports, and then I literally have a shortcut here, and I literally click it and I click run. And of course, right now it won't run anything because I already ran my trades for today. But literally, it'll run it and automatically create the entries right here on my Notion. So it's kind of cool. Instead of creating them, and then I'll just add whatever details are missing. So, but yeah, that's my video. Thanks. Any questions, let me know. I know this is a lot.